The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
19 after 7, there were 2 bullets fired directly into her face, and she was simply a passerby. But for the e-hailing drivers, the tensions between them and taxi associations and taxi operators have reached a boiling point. From not being allowed to pick up or drop off customers freely to being fined as much as 2,500 rand by taxi operators for simply doing their jobs, e-hailing drivers are saying they're being squeezed out of the spaces in which they operate. You know, of course, what happened in Soweto. One of them shot dead, 2 vehicles set alight. Where will this end? We've invited the Secretary General of the E-Hailing Partners Council to join us, Melithemba Nguni. Appreciate your time and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Good morning, Bongs. Good morning to the listeners, and thank you for the opportunity.
Firstly, just explain who the E-Hailing Partners Council are. Whom do you represent?
The E-Hailing Partners Council, it is a representative of the e-hailing operators, fleet owners, and the drivers within the e-hailing platforms, different platforms. It came to birth after an e-hailing elective conference that was facilitated by the Department of Transport to have e-hailing having a representative structure.
All right, so you are the recognized e-hailing representative body, yeah?
Yes, we are actually fighting to hold on to our recognition.
Oh, explain that.
Yes, actually what has happened is that because we've been pushing the interest of the operators, contrary to the interest of certain individuals within maybe the department and so forth, and we haven't been the favorite to an extent that we are being replaced by their own that will push their own agendas.
All right. All those politics notwithstanding, you are the body that stands at the moment. Give us a sense of what e-hailing drivers face every day. How tough is it?
Very tough, Bongs. Actually, the incident that happened in Soweto, it happened to caught the attention of the media and social media. But the last week, the week before that incident, we were having a meeting at JP Police Station because of 12 incidents that have happened within e-hailing, and most of drivers being killed. And the investigation is showing that most of them, if not all of them, were execution. So e-hailing, it is indeed under attack. But apart from these attacks that we are seeing now, we've had these issues where we have got these places that we call hotspots, where e-hailers are not able to pick up in those places. They are terrorized, they're extorted, they're attacked. These are places like Maponya Mall, your Tembisa Mall, Beacheckers, a lot of them, Bosman Station, and so forth.
You talked about 12 incidents you describe as executions. Can you give me more details? Give me some of the examples of those incidents that you're referring to. What happened?
So most of them were happening from the areas of Johannesburg, Maboneng, and the drivers were killed. And the investigation was showing that these are not robberies. This is the feedback that we got from the police to say their belongings were there, the cars were there, they were being executed. These are the incidents that happened in a space of a week where 12 people were killed.
In 1 week?
Hence I'm saying, in 1 week. Hence I'm saying that the incident in Maponya Mall, it happened to get the attention of the media. But this is the reality that is happening within the e-hailing, and these are untold stories about the safety of e-hailing operators.
So essentially, either you avoid specific areas or you could meet this type of end.
Indeed. You look at even Mvelase Umtogos is the one that was affected in Maponya Mall. He was still new in the industry. So a lot of these incidents happen to newer drivers because they don't really know of these hot spots. Hence, on our side, we do have our communication channels to our members where we communicate now and then to say avoid such areas like your Maponya Mall, the places that I've mentioned. but also to say avoid picking up, for an example, more than two men in the evening, avoid certain areas, because there's a lot of crimes apart from the attacks that we are experiencing. There's also organized crime against e-hailers because they know they're always going to get a smartphone and probably money from the driver.
Talk to me about the attempts at extortion. What has that been like?
Look, there is a lot of criminality that is happening around this bullying or harassment that are taking place. Some of them are motivated by money. These are people that they've realized that this is very lucrative. They make a lot of money. They would confiscate a car, and they would make these demands to say for that car to be released, they need 1.5, in some of the places 2,500, and to show that they are making a lot of money. It has gone to an extent that they have got some of our police in their pockets, because whenever you report these matters, nothing happens to these people. That's how lucrative it is. Some of them, it's just criminality. Some of them, it is just that animosity that is there from the taxi industry, because there are places where we operate smoothly with the taxi industry, but there are places that you can't at all.
Gosh, and you're saying you can't look to the law for protection?
Unfortunately not, which is why even today we are having a protest march, because as I'm telling you, these are hotspots, like we say, we call them the hotspots. They are known. And with the taxi violence inquiry in 2019-2020, it gave the Department of Transport a policing unit specialized to deal with the taxi violence crime. We've been asking for that unit to go and be deployed in these places. It has never been deployed.
Is the Department of Transport helpful at all?
Unfortunately not. In actual fact, if you look at this incident and you listen to the MEC, the department is part of the problem, because they are perpetuating a narrative to claim that e-hailing is illegal. E-hailing has been legal in the country since 2016 through the practice note. And beyond that, they have got this narrative to say e-hailers do not have operating licenses. We are at pains to say we have made applications. If you look at the backlog of thousands that they have, because I think in around early this year, February this year, they were sitting at about 19,000 applications as a backlog. In most of those, you'd see the e-hailing, where we are wanting to comply, but the department is not able to meet us halfway. And you look at those backlog, there's thousands as well from the minibus taxis, but they want to create this narrative that e-hailing is operating legal, e-hailing is not having operating licenses, while this is a problem that affects all e-hailers, all operators of the taxis across the board.
I spoke to the MEC last week, and one of the questions I asked her was whether or not this government is running scared when it comes to this issue. What's your view?
Look, I don't think they are running scared, and I can tell you, some of us engage the leadership of the taxi industry. They are communicable, they are understanding. Of course, like I said, there are places where you operate, there are places where you don't operate. A lot of issues are on the ground. What I think is happening within our government is that they are entangled in a relationship, and they are not having a will to address e-hailing issues, contrary to them being fearful of the taxi industry. We are the ones that approached the taxi industry as the e-hailers, and were able to pull them to the department to an extent of signing a memorandum of agreement in terms of operations. That's how accessible they were, and that's how communicable they were. But it was the department that dropped the ball in that process. They were facilitating that process, and they never carried it throughout. It is one of the reasons why today we are having a protest march to the Department of Transport to say these are initiatives that could have allowed coexistence, but the department has not come to the party.
All right, appreciate your time. Melithemba Nguni there is the Secretary General of the body representing e-hailing drivers and operators. They call themselves the E-Hailing Partners Council. I'd love to hear from both drivers and owners of e-hailing vehicles what your experience has been, what you think ought to happen, and what your plea to government might be.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.